I know that Stefanie had brought this up to me when we first started talking about becoming partners.
Yeah.
And I know, well, we both knew or were aware of that.
And it's crazy because I had a meeting with another investor because I like dissected the whole thing because I was like, I want to make sure that it's the right partnership, right? So I know where you're coming from.
Oh yeah, I figured you knew what I was about to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something that you brought up to me in the beginning, which really didn't even cross my mind because we're both very friendly people. If you can't tell,
should I say it?
Yeah, you can say it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So and it's not talked about in the space.
It's not.
So I
feel like it's one of those things that just gets swept under the rug, but it really does play a large factor.
And that's literally your race, right?
Yeah, it's your race and your sexuality.
Exactly. Sure. So when, I got into real estate and, I knew being Black in real estate, there's going to be people out there that don't want to work with you because you're Black, right?
Yeah.
And then I thought about it, okay, I'm getting ready to partner up with someone. Let me reach out to a good friend of mine, he's mixed and
Sorry, the fish just jumped out the water.
There's fish. We got a full-on aquarium in the back.
Let us know if you want that to be the background next time.
But I hopped on a call with him and I was asking him have you guys ever experienced race an issue?
Yeah.
With real estate investing? Has anything ever happened? And he was telling me, he was like, yeah, there's this one time where we were door knocking. He had his white friend and then it was him. And then they were going to door knock the same person's house, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it was the same day or different days or what it was. But when they went to door knock, the seller was yeah, they wanted to sell.
Right.
But he wasn't selling to...
The white guy?
No. Oh. He was going to sell to him.
Oh, to the white guy. Okay.
But he wasn't going to sell to the mixed guy.
Oh, gotcha.
Right? And literally, just those little things. It's crazy
it's just
because...
The things you don't really think about. It's all behind the scenes, I guess you could say.
And it's sad. It's sad. It's the world we live in, but we do have to think like that. And I know there's people out there that aren't thinking like that when coming into the business. And it's not he's using me because I'm Black or I'm using him because he's white. We both have our strengths and weaknesses where we're, building together to grow a really strong company.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's crazy that it's happening, but that's the world we live in today. And honestly, for me as a real estate agent, I honestly don't think I ever had anything racist, happen to me. I don't know.
So we had a call the other day. It was our...
Oh, no, there was something.
Oh, go ahead. What happened?
But I don't know. It was with not Investors Unite, but with Stefanie Buys Houses.
Okay.
So when I was doing the cold call, I was on the phone with this lady.
Yeah.
And she was we were talking for a good 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And she was like, let me ask you this. Are you African American? I was yeah.
Can you tell by the voice?
She was like, all right, well, because this land was owned for 30 years or 50 years from Black-owned families, blah, 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 and what's going on. I was like, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's cool. That's awesome.
Of course.
But, I was just thinking, if Skyler would have been on that call, the rapport wouldn't have been there.
Right, it wouldn't have turned out so well. You wouldn't have built that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And, I mean, these are... my story the other day was actually from our VA who was calling.
Mm-hmm.
She is Ethiopian as well, just like Stefanie. It was nothing directed towards her, but the person or the seller that she had got in contact with, we were trying to figure out her motivation for wanting to sell the property, and she basically hinted at the area is changing, quote unquote. Yeah. The diversity is becoming more and more apparent within her community, and that was one of the reasons she wanted to move out. So once again, it was nothing directed towards either one of us or our cold caller, but it just shows that there are still people out there who look at others in that kind of manner. Yeah. Which I'm not saying it's right at all. I believe it's completely wrong. The school we went to is a very diverse school.
Really diverse, yeah.
We had Indians,
everyone,
Asians, Blacks, whites, plenty of male, females, and other pronouns. I don't know about all of it. But yeah, so neither one of us really grew up in that kind of way.
Right.
But we know that these older generations are the people who we're going to be speaking to, and some of them do still have that mindset. So going in, I mean, myself as a white male, like, if I talk to any other older white male, I'm able to bond with him pretty easily, honestly. Right. Like, it's not just that I'm white or that at all. It's kind of just, like, the mindset of, like, my whole family, like, they're all older white guys. Mm-hmm. So I just have a better relationship building with those kind of people. Yeah. I feel like it comes across a little bit easier for me.
And that's the same with, like, me with, like, black people. Like, I know how they act.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
It's just, it's funny, you know, but, there's another thing that just popped in my head, too. But go ahead, what you were saying.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, even though, like, we are obviously different ethnicities and everything, mm-hmm. that's something that you're going to want to think about when finding a partner, just depending on what area you're in. And I know it's not always going to be the prettiest thing to think about or even talk to another person.
And that's a tough conversation.
It is.
And I think we did have that conversation.
At the coffee shop.
Yeah, we were talking about that because where we are, like, people know we're in Harrisburg, PA.
Yeah.
Harrisburg is super diverse.
Super diverse.
And I don't know if I can speak too much just because of real estate, like my agent stuff.
Right.
But I'll just say this. So wherever you go, it's like there's going to be like some places are going to be more of, you know, this race. Some places are going to be more of this race, right?
Right.
So like whenever we have appointments, so say we're cold calling, you send an appointment or I send an appointment and say it's in this area, I know like, oh, I'm not going on that appointment, you know? Like,
and that has nothing really to do with ethnicity either.
Yeah.
No, not really. At the end of the day, it's like, if we're going into like the inner city or the trenches per se, it's going to be me that's going. Like, I'm the guy.
Well, no. Like, for that, like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, for city stuff, it's like, you definitely go.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll go too. But, like...
You did go to Harold, so
I did.
I was proud of you for that.
But, for, like, the outer of me in the country, it's like...
That's my territory again.
Go, yeah. So, you can go for it.
No.
And like, I'll go sometimes. Like, I'll go sometimes, but it just, like, someone's gonna feel more comfortable...
Right.
If they see you.
Right. I mean, that's no lie. Like, anywhere in, like, the rural farmlands outside of Harrisburg, like Lancaster, York, Cumberland County, it's gonna be old white people. Like, just to be completely honest with everyone. And I feel as though myself, like, I feel perfectly comfortable just walking down some kind of back road next to farms, old guys in pickup trucks.
Now, if I'm doing that...
Shotguns in the back,
a completely different story. And there's probably going to be comments on this episode, which, you know, everyone's having a different, you know, view or background, whatever the case may be, but it's just the honest truth. That's the world we live in today, and it's something that needs to be talked about, and I don't think it is talked about enough because there's a lot of people that are, you know, going through stuff like that. Like, I had a friend that... she was doing an open house and the neighbor, because she was doing an open house and she was going around to the neighbor and giving them like notes or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like a pop by is what they call it in real estate. To get your name out there to, you know, get more deals.
Leverage within the neighborhood.
As well as like, usually neighbors like to buy the house or something like that, or a family member of the neighbor likes to buy that house.
My house is a little nicer than mine. I might have to go pick that one up.
Yeah, so she was going around door knocking, and then this one house she door knocked, she has a picture, I think, on her business card, so it shows what she looks like, and I think she's, I don't know exactly what she is, but...
something of diversity.
Right. And the seller called her. Like, she wasn't there face-to-face because she just left the pop-by there. But the seller called her and was like, you people never... Like, she was so rude and she was going right at her race. Like, just being so racist. This was in... I think it was in Cumberland County.
Okay.
So, maybe Mechanicsburg or...
Yeah.
Camp.
Yeah. So, we know a little bit more than what our general audience will know in regards to these areas.
When you know your backyard...
You know who lives where, what kind of people you're going to deal with, those kind of things. So yeah, I mean, ethnicity, like, it does play a factor when picking the partnership overall. Yeah. Another thing is her being a female and myself being a male.
Right.
That also does play a factor. I know that being a female within the real estate community, it's a lot more rare. Like, you're going to deal with a lot of like the businessmen.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I found as though like it probably helps out our company a lot knowing that there's a female's name. Well, so the name of this company is Investors Unite, so that's kind of just like a general thing.
But our real estate investing company is called Stefanie Buys Houses.
Right. And I feel like that does attract more people. They're like, Stefanie. They're like,
yeah.
I mean, not a lot of people use their names, but it could be like Mark buys houses or Dave buys houses. And it's just, it doesn't really pop. It doesn't stand out to sellers. I feel like a lot more people feel more comfortable when talking to them. And it's more
masculine. Like, if they see a female or hear a female's voice, like when cold calling, they're more soft. They're more laid back. Or like whenever, just in general, whenever a girl is cold calling, like it's just the response isn't super as bad. So like, yeah, you will get cussed out if you're cold calling as a girl. That's going to happen. But you're probably not going to get as cussed out as a guy.
Right.
You know?
And there's been multiple times where I'm just like going through it and Stefanie will be like listening. We'll be on the phone as I'm making the calls on the laptop. She's like, oh my God. Like, did you really just say that? I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a usual thing, honestly.
Yeah. And it's something.
To be in real estate, you got to have like a thick layer of skin. Yeah. You're going to get a lot of those. And I mean, rejection's always a big part, but you got to think a little bit deeper than rejection. Like,
right.
They'll start going for your heart.
No, they will. And that's why you see like a lot of real estate investors, a lot of real estate investing companies, you will see what kind of cold callers they have. It's not male. They want to hire female cold callers because they're going to get a better response rate. They're going to get a better, more lead flow from that, you know?
No, I completely agree. So that's just another thing to consider when trying to find a partner.